how are you doing today? I hope that you're doing amazing and fantastic and wonderful. Alex went to bed early. It's only 7 o'clock in the evening, and it was finally like, after he got sick and had a few days off last week, I think he's just exhausted, so he went to bed like an hour and a half early. Hopefully that doesn't come to bite us in the butt come morning, because he woke me up at 3 o'clock this morning. Hold on, Cleo needs to make her debut as per usual. I know, come on. I know. Well, you saw that I was turning on the lights. You knew what was going on. I know. Silly girl. Am I wearing my Hanson shirt? Yes. Yes, I am. It is very comfortable. Don't judge me. Okay, so. All right, Courtney, focus. Hello, Cleo. Hi. Okay, so I thought that it would be fun I was going through my Goodreads because I transferred all of my Goodreads account and information over to StoryGraph. And I don't know if a lot of you guys know what StoryGraph is, but it's an amazing way to find community, get great recommendations off of what you've already read. And I love the fact that you can look up the mood you're in and it will bring up books according to your mood. So let's say that you're in a cozy mystery kind of mood and you want a light cozy or like anything like that. Like you can put in the different genres, what kind of mood, what pace, all of it. So you can put in all of the different types of information, your mood, your pace, the genre. You can put in all of that and then it'll pop out different books based on your liking. You can actually follow people on your community, like people, and sort of make your own bookish community, and you can look at people who have reading tastes similar to yours. It's just super cool. This is not sponsored by StoryGraph in any way, shape, or form. But it got me thinking about my top 10 books so far that I absolutely love. And so I took some screenshots from my StoryGraph just to make this a little bit quicker and easier, but I'm really excited. Okay, so the very first book that I absolutely loved, now this is in no particular order. This is not like my first favorite book of the year or anything like that. It's literally, I started from the most recent reads and I scooted all the way down the list of all the reads that I've done. So, The Guncle. I loved The Guncle so freaking much. It was just, StoryGraph says that it is emotional, funny, medium paced, and I couldn't agree anymore. Like, I laughed out loud so many times during this book, and then I teared up and it got emotional, and it had such character growth that I really enjoyed. And I loved the fact that it was just so open to other different lifestyles, and I had a very different growing up, if you will. And I love the fact that this book was just judgy free, and I loved that so much. I mean, the only thing that he was judgy of was like if you didn't know what dinner was or brunch, and it was just so good. Okay, my next one is The Cure for What Ails You, and this is the 5th and last book in the Sloane Cross mystery series, and I loved it. StoryGraph says that it's emotional, mysterious, reflective, and medium paced, and I couldn't agree more. I just love Sloane, and the fact that she has a son. It's so rare to see sleuths, cozy sleuths with children. I mean, even to have husbands is very different in the cozy mystery world. And so I really appreciate the fact that Ellie wrote a teenage boy in, and it wasn't, he wasn't just written off the page. He, you know, Sloane cared about him and things like that. Like I really enjoyed that aspect of this series. The next one is another Ellie Alexander book. She just comes out like bam, bam, bam. And then like I got some arcs and I had to read them because The Cure for What Ails You does not come out until October 5th. So I also got Mocha She Wrote, which is the book 13 in the Bake Shop Mystery series. And I absolutely just, I loved it. I loved following like Andy's whole entire journey and becoming more of himself and becoming more confident in himself, and Jules becoming closer to Carlos, and just, I really enjoyed just, she writes character development and relationships really well, and I can really appreciate that. The next book is not going to shock you guys because I talked about this for a really long time. It's Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. StoryGraph calls this a science fiction thriller, adventurous, funny, tense, and medium paced. Again, I agree with all of that. I love science fiction so much. It's one of my absolute favorite genres of all time. And sometimes I just need to be taken out of this world. And Andy Weir does this really well. I've read every one of his books. I would have to say Project Hail Mary, then it's The Martian, and then it's Artemis. Like in terms of ranking those 3 books that he has written. But Andy Weir's an auto buy for me, so I will automatically just purchase whatever it is that he writes. The next book I got was an arc, and it was Murder in the Cookbook Nook by Ellery Adams, and it was so good. It was the newest in the Book Retreat mystery series, and I'm always down for Ellery's writing. It's so beautifully done and written, and it's another sleuth. Jane has 2 twin boys who are young twin boys, and she loves and cares about them, and they're not just written off the page or seen off the page or heard about off the page. They are front and center. I love them so much, and it's just, as a mom, I've really come to want more of that in my books. Like I want to read about people who are like me. The next book, oh my goodness, such a good book. It's Magic Lessons, the prequel to Practical Magic by Alice Hoffman. Read this during the fall, guys. I know I read it in midsummer and I loved it. I absolutely adored it. I listened to it on audiobook. Go the audiobook route. It was so good. And Practical Magic is one of my absolute favorite movies of all time. The soundtrack is phenomenal. If you've never ever listened to the soundtrack of Practical Magic, like, chef's kiss, you will not regret it. It's just so good. I love it so much. StoryGraph says that this is emotional, mysterious, reflective, and slow-paced. I would agree with that. There were some parts of the book that were medium-paced, like you were like wanting to flip the pages. But it is sort of a prequel, and so I don't know, it wasn't too slow for me, because I would have DNF'd it if it was too slow, because I like pretty fast-paced books or medium-paced books, but it was amazing. And then this year I've really gotten into middle grade, and so I really enjoyed Pages & Co. Tilly and the Book Wanderers by Anna James. It was just so much fun, and I mean, who doesn't like diving into fictional worlds? And it's just, I really loved the mystery behind it. StoryGraph says that it is adventurous, lighthearted, and fast-paced. And I couldn't agree more. It was just, I loved it. And like, the cover is so adorable, and the author is freaking amazing. If you're not following her on Instagram, you should be. One of my next books is a thriller. It is a spooky mystery thriller, and it's The Sundown Motel by Simone St. James. I freaking love Simone St. James. Like, from the first book I read of hers, The Broken Girls, to The Sundown Motel, I will most definitely be picking up her backlists, as well as her newest book that's coming out, I think, next year, and it's called like The Cold Case Files or something like that. But she does dual timelines and perspectives really well, and that's like a really good sweet spot for me, and I really love it. StoryGraph says that it's dark, mysterious, tense, and medium paced. I felt like it was fast-paced to me, but I really enjoy thrillers, especially the way that she writes them. Then one of my favorite reads of all time, it was my first book that I read this year, I believe, and that was Just One Damn Thing After Another by Jodi Taylor. It is a series I do plan on continuing. It's the Chronicles of St. Mary's series. I do plan on continuing that series. I'm probably going to start the second one in like October. I feel like it's a very good like fall kind of vibe. StoryGraph says that this is adventurous, lighthearted, and fast-paced. I really enjoyed this. It's about 416 pages, so it's not like super thick, but it's not super small. I have an issue with books that are under 300 pages because I feel like I have been ripped off because it's not long enough. I just want to be with the characters longer. And so yeah, I really enjoyed this. And then the last book that I have absolutely loved is the newest in the Secret Books and Scone Society by Ellery Adams, and it is Ink and Shadows, and I love it. StoryGraph says that it's dark, mysterious, tense, and slow-paced. It really just depends on how you read your cozies. I consider them sort of medium-paced. It really depends, but I have loved all of those books that I just mentioned. They're absolutely fantastic. What is some of your absolute favorite reads that you've read so far in 2021? I know that it's only August and there are 4 months left of reading for me, so there will probably be more books that will join this at the end of the year, but I just thought that, you know, it was on my mind. I wanted to share it with you guys. But that's the end of this chapter of Courtagonist. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, guys, happy reading. Bye.